Greetings and welcome back. Michael and I are joined again here today to do a session on Science is the New Religion on this Saturday, July 3rd, 2021, our second session of the day. And this is a study where we reflect Bible principles and match them against the deeds of the day, which is the science script that Michael has labored to put together for us. And look, we're on Babylon Part 3, Session 15, Michael. Oh, 16.
Yeah, pardon me. Hello, Brad. Sorry, I haven't changed the number. Session 16, it must be. Babylon Part 3. Yeah, last time we were into Babylonian science, and we spoke about that if Babylon was nothing else than another captivity from the Israelites, and Rome is the new Babylon, then the Babylonian science is nothing than compared to the Roman science, it is just quite interesting that the science in the old times was a pagan science, and in all pagan religions they also look at the skies and to figure out how the origin of the universe was so, and how everything was created, and what the origin of life is, especially. And in Babylonian, you got three sources of, or three branches of science. Actually, it is math, astronomy, and astrology. So in Babylonia, there were three major branches of science. That was math, astronomy, and astrology. Today, the Babylonians are perhaps best known for their astronomical observations, but astronomy and astrology played a subordinate role in mathematics for quite some time in Babylonian history. It was not until the end of the Kassite dynasty when astronomy began to become the most important Babylonian science, which continued into the first millennium BC during the Neo-Babylonian dynasty. It was then that Babylonian astronomers began mapping out constellations, dividing 36 into three circles represented by the gods Anu, Enlil, and Ea. I don't think that many Bible scholars are being known that actually this was being taught in Babylon. Also, when Daniel and all these people were in captivity there.
Isn't that interesting? Split into 3 of 12 each.
Yeah. This is a source, Wolfram von Soden, The Ancient Orient, an Introduction to the Study of the Ancient Near East, from 1994. Even more than mathematics, Babylonian astronomy represented the melding of science and religion.
Oh, there we go again, Michael.
There we go again.
We had this in our last session. Yeah.
Yeah, it will not be separate from now until the end of the series. It is everywhere it is connected, because you see that the church has the most influence, and the church runs the most universities today, and the church has the most money.
Oh boy, this is sounding more like politics all of a sudden. Why is that, Michael?
It's just to distract the people from the word of God.
Because
if you don't know the word of,
good point.
If you don't know the word of God, you don't question the authorities. You think that, it is just a government by the people, and you see that you don't see the picture as it is.
I think, Michael, what you're trying to say is if you don't study the Bible, if you don't read and study the Bible, you don't know the Bible, then the state is free to use the Bible against your knowledge as a pagan in order to cultivate your inactivity with the, of course, religion of this empire, which is the beast. The beast will rule over you. It's ruling over the state. It's the beast. So it takes and cultivates any knowledge of the truth and is free to use you for its own purpose.
Oh, not only that, Brad, you see that the state system schools the people into their history. So if you don't know the real history, you are simply lost because you think that that is all for the best purpose. It is not to hide anything. They're just leaving out the major things.
People that reminds me, Michael, something very important. You know, the times we live in. I was listening to one of the most recent sessions that Tom and Yerk did on Joggler 66 earlier this week, and Yerk had mentioned that he was typing in the word Inquisition into the tags in YouTube. So if any of you have a YouTube page, you know that you can assert tags into your videos and they will be applied in the search engine. Well, the word Inquisition is no longer of use to Google. So it is one of these terms that has been blacklisted. They blacklisted the Inquisition. Of course, I mean, that Tony Fauci isn't a Jesuit for nothing now, is he?
Yeah, what to say about it? You see, the real thing is that they were doing this since the beginning, that information will be suppressed and that people who are too superficial to look behind it and to study it. You see that Brett and me and all the other guys, we are doing it for years. We are not going into a site search engine just on a regular day.
I'm going to send you an image, Michael, here quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want you to pull this image up when you get a chance. But yeah, Michael, continue.
That's the point. You see that you don't get it on a Sunday afternoon. Type in something on Google and you get the truth.
Okay, Brett's indignation of politics here. I just want to show everyone that, you know, this is what we're dealing with here. This is the beast. This is the beast. This happened a long time ago. Tony Fauci was recognized as a very important individual to bring about a very important agenda in these days, and he is going to be rewarded greatly because they have succeeded in putting forward the whole agenda. So we continue into our study of why we have this hierarchy making its way. It's very interesting, that medal, isn't it, Michael? The pentagram. Yeah, what do they call it? The Medal of Freedom or something like that in the United States. But yeah, Michael, it's just, you know, this has been going on for so long. This year is 2021, so this will be the 20th anniversary. We're coming up of the World Trade Center attacks in New York City. A very pivotal time in history.
And you see that how shall people react to the current situation if they are absolutely unaware what happened 20 years ago?
Dismay, yeah.
That's my point. You see that they are totally overpowered by the current situation because they were very careless 20 years ago and 40 years ago, 100 years ago. You see, people are just too entertained to make a deep research. Yeah, you see, entertainment everywhere.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, that's the real problem. Entertainment. Yeah. Cigarettes in the city. Oh, don't we know that from Europe? So the planets were all associated with different deities. Is it is that a similarity, or is it just far-fetched that the names of the planets did not change since more than 2,000 years? Yeah, people really think they live in a modern age when they are using old Roman names and Latin language.
Boy, it's like bottomless pit. What else is associated with different deities?
Yeah, but you see that it's everywhere. The planets are all associated with different deities, and ziggurats in the city and throughout all of Mesopotamia, for that matter, served not only as temples, but also at scribal schools and celestial observatories. There you got it again. Temple, school, scribal schools, temples, celestial observatory. You see, this is a connection between education and religion, or science and religion. You have to see it as it is. As long as if the state is schooling a civilian about the things that he ought to know, because otherwise he won't get good grades. Nothing will change. People actually would have to refer on the private teachers, independent teachers, but it is not been accommodated and not allowed in the many countries around the world that people are being taught by independent teachers. They all are bound to the school system, to the education system. Therefore, they get all the same education, or in other terms, the word called curriculum. And therefore, they are so overpowered with useless information. Otherwise, they don't. If they don't know it from memory, they are being programmed to use that. Otherwise, they don't get good grades. They cannot go to the university. They won't get a profession, and so that's it. And in their spare time, they say that, oh no, listening to Jörg and Tom and Brad and Michael and who else? I don't have any time for it. I would like to have some entertainment. I would like to see football. I would like to see Formula One. I would like to hang out, go to the music pubs or something like that. I can't blame them for that. You see that, because
it's hedonism, Michael. Hedonism. Our world is just polluted by this stuff.
Yeah, but professing to be wise, they became fools. You see that they think they are wise, but actually they're being fooled by education authorities and by their superficial research. They're not doing it on their own, and it is becoming harder to make research on their own. And even in the years when internet was a bit more free than today, people had enough chance to study things, but you see that they go into superficial things because they don't have to think about it, and that will never change, and we will never change the world. There are so few people who are actually keen on real knowledge and studying for themselves and studying the Bible and comparing all the things. The big majority of people is not interested in it, and even will counterattack on that, because it will distract them from their life just having fun. Yeah, you scare the peep out of people if you go on and telling them the truth. They reject
that's
it.
Right. It goes like this: have I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? That was in Galatians, I think. Even we covered that last time, and I think it's really important we know the origins of this. It is Babylon, Michael, very clearly is Babylon in the Bible. And, more of a modern definition of Babylon is any city or any center of luxury and wickedness. It's everywhere. Babylon is everywhere. You can't escape Babylon. You might run from that center, the epicenter, but it still has its influence everywhere.
Yeah. Okay, once the astronomers made their observations, they were able to develop calendars and make predictions for the good of the state. Again, everything has been made for the good of the state, so that the state stays intact. Oh, don't worry the people. Don't tell them anything you know. Yeah. The Babylonians were able to create calendars that were more accurate than those produced by their contemporaries, because their calendrical observations were aided by advances in astronomy and math. Okay, astronomy and math, which helped to iron out potential problems. For instance, the fact that connections between the day, month, and year could be expressed in whole numbers was rectified by the Babylonians through their observations of the stars and use of math. They created a lunisolar calendar that was very adaptable and adding an extra month if needed to equalize the solar and lunar years. The astronomical observations the Babylonians made were later discovered by Jewish and Greek scholars who used the knowledge to predict eclipses. The 2nd century AD Alexandrian scientist Ptolemy and even the 6th century before Christ Greek philosopher and scientist Thales are believed to have accurately predicted eclipses based on Babylonian celestial observations. The Greeks indeed were impressed with Babylonian astronomy, especially during the Hellenistic period when the Greek Seleucids controlled Babylon and were able to translate many of the cuneiform Akkadian tables into Greek. But the Greeks were most interested in the Babylonian science that is not considered so today, which is astrology. It is important to remember that all forms of science were used for the king and the state in ancient Babylon, which also included astrology. Aha, you see, science and state are mingled together as well. And if church and state or religion and science is mingled together, then you got church, state, and science mingled together. For the Babylonians, astrology consists of making temporal predictions and decisions based on the movements of the celestial bodies. After observing the planets and stars, Babylonian scientists would suggest to the king such things as when and where to plant crops, when to pursue diplomacy, and when to go to war. Huh? Isn't that something? Huh? Reminds me of that famous astrologer of Ronald Reagan. Huh? For example.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Or rather Nancy Reagan.
Yeah, or rather Nancy Reagan, yeah.
To be specific,
we handled that issue. I think it was in Christopher Lee somewhere. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. I forget which
yeah.
script it was, but you would know better than I. That's for
yeah.
sure.
Unlike today, astrology was never used for personal decisions unless it had to do with the king and was viewed as part of astronomy, not separate from it. Yeah, and that's the thing. Astrology was used for the state. So the look at the stars was used for the purpose, for the good of the state, not for the good of man. So, conclusion. There is a common misconception among many people in the modern world that scientific thought began with the ancient Greeks, but an examination reveals that true science was being practiced centuries earlier in the Mesopotamian city of Babylon, albeit with some fundamental differences. You see, all roads lead to Babylon. So that many people refer to, oh, the Greeks, they were so great, they had philosophers and they had all the great mathematicians. And even so, thousands of years before in Babylon, they did nearly the same. And they invented things. And they had their own deities like Marduk. Finally, science and religion were tightly intertwined in ancient Babylon. Astronomical observations were made by priests in religious temples. Yeah, it won't get better than that, Brad. Now you know why the Vatican has an observatory, huh? To make predictions for the king and state, which were sanctioned by the Mesopotamian deities. Yeah, it's the same here. Astronomical observations were made by priests in religious temples. So they were worshipping sun gods. Sun gods. Quite sure. This is a so-called horoscope. This is a birth chart. There are no planets except the Mars here. So you see that at the time of your birth or of the birth of something, for example, and the birth of a state, something, what the sky looked like.
Ah, Michael, this is reminding me of something rather quickly all of a sudden. You know, at the beginning, we mentioned there were 36 associated with the 12 quote-unquote gods. So you have 3 gods divided by 12 is what I'm trying to say. So Babylonian Trinity, anyone?
Oh, it goes even far more further than that. We have to
I'm
spend
sure
at least 2 sessions about that. I know what you are up to, but just trust me. I hope I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
I hope so too.
I hope so too. You see, this is a birth horoscope. If it was so, you would see many more lines and etc. in it. This is actually the side you have at the horizon. That is the line between west and east and west. Yeah, and you see this is divided in 12 sections. These are the 12 so-called houses where the gods live. Yeah, because this is the symbol of Mars. Mars is the god of war and of male sexuality. Yeah, and so this is the zodiac. Yeah, and before I will go into that astrological explanation, what it has all to do, simply just think about that this is some kind of ancient science. Yeah, it is not more or less ancient science deriving out of the area of Mesopotamia, from the Chaldeans, for example. And when we know that on Chaldeans, which we in last session we have developed that Chaldeans means somebody of that region, and also an astrologer, if you remember that. You see that here it was in Genesis 11. I know that from memory. I think it was 11:28 or somewhere. Yeah, Ur of the Chaldeans. Yeah, what do you read there? Yeah, you read there, implication a Chaldean, as if so descended, also an astrologer, as if proverbial of that people. You see that the Chaldeans were actually very famous for using astrology. It is depicted here in Hebrew 3778, Ur of the Chaldeans. Let me remind you, 3000 BC, more than 5,000 years ago. Yeah, and this zodiac here, I will explain a little bit later, because I see now that in the script I have implemented another way. You see that science actually means knowledge, and a systematic enterprise that builds and organizes knowledge in the form of testable explanations and predictions about the universe. Oh. What's that? The predictions about the universe. Hasn't that something to do with astrology? Maybe? Astronomy? Astrology? Predictions about the universe. There you got it again. That it has something to do to have knowledge about the universe. So
Michael,
everything is fitting together.
You have prophecy in the Bible. Then you have predictions about the universe and the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is their form of prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah. I will explain what's it all about. This is if you like to say so, it has been named after certain star signs, and it has been named about Roman gods. Yeah, for example, the sun, which would be in Greek would be Apollo. Yeah, and then you have Mars. In Greek it would be Aries. In Roman it would be Mars. Then Jupiter, which would be equivalent in Greece, would be Zeus, etc., etc., etc. Yeah? Neptune, Poseidon, etc., etc. So you see, it has been equipped here with the symbols of planets, and the name of the planets are simply names of deities, yeah, where they don't exist, yeah. But you see that all serves a pagan context. Okay. And as Brett asked about, there were 3 by 12. Yeah, there are 12 areas of interest. Yeah. For example, area 5 is children. Area 7 is thinking. Area 10 is your social status, etc., etc. You see, you have some diversions. How is it in English?
Divisions?
Divisions, yeah, thank you. Divisions, yeah. This is a circle, and it consists of 360 degrees. Okay? So you see here every degree, and every degree means a day. So the sun is traveling every 1 degree every day. And 360 is nothing more or nothing less than 36 by 10.
Huh, interesting.
And you got here 3 so-called decils, yeah, 3 by 10, 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30. So this is the whole scale of an entire year, which was then in ancient times 360 days, okay? That's why they also included some months to get it then correct again. So that are these are the solar days. Okay, and now we know that the sun does not need 1 degree each day, but 59 minutes of a degree. So 59, around 59 out of 60. So that's why they get along with 365 days. But nevertheless, we got here a division of 3 major parts. These are called the decils, or in ancient times, they also been called the Deacons, yeah, because DEC, where our month December comes from, yeah, means the 10th. So a decimal system means by 10, okay? So usually December is the 10th month of it. So not the 12th, because the year started in March earlier on, yeah? And not in January, but that's for the change of the Julian to the Gregorian calendar in the Middle Ages or in the Dark Ages. Okay, so these divisions here, you see, these are divisions by 10. Okay, so each fragment here is 30 degrees. 12 by 30 means 360, means the entire circle around the circle of the year or the circle of the sun. Because it is more interesting, I show you a complete radix where you see there are many more things. Yeah, okay. So look at that. Yeah, so this would be a complete radix. You have here all the planets, the moon, the Mars, the Jupiter, the Mercury, the Venus, the Sun, the Pluto, the Neptune, the Saturn. And
is this what's called houses, Michael?
Yeah, this the 12 divided through 12. Yeah, these are the houses: 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. They stand for a purpose here, so that in the first house you got your ego, yeah, so that what you want to achieve. Yeah, so what drives you in life. The second one is your possession. The third one is your communication. The fourth one is your family or your home. The fifth one are your children and your sex life. The sixth one is your adaptation to life and sometimes also your health. The seventh are your partnerships, your thinking. The eighth one is the possession of others or your dogmas. The ninth one is your relation to religion. The 10th one is your social status. The 11th one is what you achieve in your profession and how the society is how you make it into the society. And the 12th one is how you appear in the society. Yeah. So if we know that in the original horoscope there are deities, yeah, these are gods, these are rulers here, these are deities. Yeah, this is the main deity of the Roman Empire, the Jupiter. He's already in use as the planet and in the horoscope, yeah. Or the Pluto, which would be the Hades, the ruler of the underworld, or the sun, which is in pagan religions the life giver, of course. Now, then without the sun, nothing would work out on this earth. Yeah. Venus, which be the goddess of sexuality. Mercury, which would be in Greek the Hermes, which would be the messenger of the god, so that he is handing over information. And so Mercury stands for information in that horoscope. So actually everything is about to be built around pagan deities here. And the zodiac around it, that just means the division of the 360 degrees in 12 parts, and they're just been named after the name of stars constellations. Yeah, so like Leo and Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, etc., 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 etc. This is not what does appear on the sky. These are just names. You could also name then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's so much confusion around, and it's very hard for me to describe, even as I am a very studied astrologer in my former life. I have studied that in Germany.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that, Michael, because, you know, when we come to the knowledge of God's truth, it completely transforms all of this, doesn't it, Michael?
Yeah, sure, but you see that people are using that without recognizing that we are still worshipping this pagan goddess, even by naming this sign or this planet Jupiter. Yeah, you have to really realize that you just fall into the pagan worship again by using that. I'm not saying that it has no meaning, but the meaning is hidden, actually. Astrologers, they are having the same problem. Professing to be wise, they became fools.
Exactly, Michael. And this is the thing. This this represents corruption on a very high level, and
yeah,
it's not easy to come to these conclusions, Michael. But the fact of the matter is, people rely on some form of truth, whether that be divining from the spirits or divining from Christ himself. That is God through Christ to God the Father in the Bible.
They take the glory away. That's the purpose, of course.
That's the problem. Yes.
That's
a major problem. Well, it might not be a problem to some who haven't really figured this out yet, but you know, just it's really tough, Michael, because most people in this world do not want to conform to the Bible because they know they're sinners. They're ashamed of their sin. They can't forgive themselves, for God's sakes. I have pity on these people. But at some point, you have to, well, God will reveal it to you when you're ready. Let's put it that way. If you're living in a drunken stupor and you're not sober, you're not going to be able to handle this. This is not the video series for you.
Oh, this is very elaborate. You see that the problem is you have to really have your Bible in your mind and to be real straight to go into these matters. This is not for the beginners. This is absolutely not for the beginners. You see that I will miss out so many information because you see that I think that it's common knowledge. Yeah, you see that I really apologize, but because there are so many things which I will miss out and forget, because to me it's just common knowledge, and people who start with it, they are totally overpowered by all this information. This is the zodiac. These are the rulers. These are the things. This is Babylonian. This is Roman.
That's right. There are rules. There are rules and regulations that this principle works upon. But at the end of the day, we're right back to the pantheon, aren't we, Michael?
Yeah, sure. The pantheon, the temple of the pagan goddess. Yeah. Actually, I could go on and on and on, but
sure.
You remember that when we were doing the Christopher Lee series, when we spoke about the end of Dracula, the first original picture, then Dracula was being put down to dust by the use of a cross, yeah. And he was dying in the midst of a magic circle. And in that magic circle, there were also the signs of the zodiac. So there were also the signs of Libra and Aquarius, etc. You see, you can also see that at a form of a magic circle. This is, in fact, a magic circle. This is sorcery. This is thinking to be as wise as God or as wise as serpents, and professing to be wise to predict the future by the constellation of stars and planets. That's nothing else. This is Babylonian science, so-called science, so-called. Okay. I really can remember when it came down to Christopher Lee that we used that image. I really can remember. I don't know if you can remember, Brett, or if somebody out there has that great memory, but I know that it was in there somewhere, Christopher Lee. But you see, you cannot imagine how many hours of study I need to do these sessions. These are such you need so much information, and this is relied to that, and this is coming from this, and so that I'm pardoning that this is just about all the images which I had to use for Christopher Lee and somewhere else, and so that the end of Dracula, I don't know if I can find it on that page. I as usual, I cannot find it that.
Yeah, Michael, you know, that's kind of the thing, you know, the weight of all of this is very true today. We have a lot of weight on our shoulders because, you know, right here it says the first pantheon of the quote unquote gods was built in 27 BC.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is where Dracula died. You see, this is nothing more than the zodiac. Yeah.
Right. Yeah? Right.
Cancer, Gemini, Taurus. Yeah.
And with a Freemasonic
checkerboard.
Checkerboard layout.
This is, you see, this is where Dracula died. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You see it now here in the background. You see. Yeah, these are all the signs of the zodiac. And so you see that every session builds upon the older sessions. Yeah. Nothing happens by accident here. Yeah. You see the sun in the middle, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I'm glad I found that. So let's move on. You see, Brett correctly referred to that 36 areas divided into 3 circles represented by the god Anu, Enlil, and Ea. We are talking about Babylon. We are not talking about Rome at the moment, okay? So 36 constellation. 36 means 12 by 3. So these are the 12 houses. And in each house, there are 3 segments. And the segments, because they are divided by 3, of course, they are 30 divided by 3 means 10. So these are called, in the ancient religion of astrology, a deacon.
Mm-hmm.
A deacon in etymology online means one who reads the gospel in divine worship, one of a body of assistant to a priest and other clergymen, from Old English deacon, from Latin diaconus, a servant of the church, religious official. And once again, you see the relation. You see the relation once again from pagan images, idols, so-called science, to religion. What would you expect when we talked about gods being displayed in a horoscope? And even in the Bible, it speaks of bishops and deacons.
What kind of gospel are we speaking of here, Michael? What kind of gospel? We should all think about that. Reading the gospel, but they didn't say which gospel now, did they? Did they specify that? If this is a Latin?
No, of course not. Yeah, of course not. You see that
that's how it all works. They want to convince you that it's Christian and good to be a pagan.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work. Sorry.
Yeah. You see here, specifically as Christian teacher and pastor, technically a deacon or deaconess. Deaconess, interesting, huh? Deaconess, a female priest, interesting. What does the Bible speak? Yeah, this only will appear and you will recognize this if you know the Bible. Otherwise, you won't say, oh, deacon or deaconess. Okay, that's a female part. Yeah. Okay, so it is, a deacon is a minister or a servant or a priest. Okay, so it is a little bit less than a priest, but actually it's a deacon. Yeah? In many parts of the scripture. Yeah? So in deacon means, in strong Greek 1250, it means a servant or a waiting man. Huh? A servant. What we all should be, a servant. So until here, I would not say that is something of it's just a servant. Yeah, we are all servants of God. Yeah, but actually, a Christian teacher and pastor, that it's specifically. This is specifically is something which is teaching something. A deacon or deaconess. Pardon me, but you see.
Oh, for sure.
In real Christian belief, there could be no deaconess. Okay. Okay, so these are the deacons, and you see that astrology also use the deacons.
Yeah, see, this is a problem with our modern times, Michael, is that the subjects of how Christ has described us has been completely hidden and put away, because we are dealing with such a deep indoctrination. I mean, just look at the quote unquote term, quote unquote human,
Mm-hmm.
That right there is the day and age and the struggles that we are going to have to deal with in order to regain our simplicity in Christ again. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty where Christ has made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. This is what we're wrestling with. And my Christian churches, look at that. Yeah, Michael, big problems. And it's all in what you take on. Yes.
Mixing the holy and the profane. You see, they're taking over the things to other systems, and it means in that system it means this, in another system it means another thing. But just to use the word, and everybody knows, he's a deacon. Yeah, it stands in the Bible. Yeah, but in another context, you see that they don't really see the difference. Yeah, they don't really see the difference. You see that the deacon, if you look it up in a dictionary, it means disambiguation may refer to deacon and officer in a Masonic lodge. So Freemasonry. Yeah. Yeah. So cardinal deacon, the lowest ranking of 3 orders in the College of Cardinals in the Roman Catholic Church. So it's the name of certain cities.
Isn't that interesting? They got something in common with the Roman Catholics, then Masons.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It's also a surname and a nickname and fictional characters. And you see, this is so widespread, disambiguation. This is a ministry, and also it can refer to astrology. Interesting, huh? It's such a broad use. Zodian deacons. Yeah. It's not DEACAN, but it sounds the same. Yeah.
Oh, KAN.
Yeah, KAN.
Oh, this is German though.
It doesn't matter. We can switch to English.
Ah, really?
We can switch to English. Yeah. So this is a deacon. It's a subdivision of astrological sign. In order to give fuller information to the zodiac signs, ancient astrologers subdivided each sign into periods of approximately 10 days. These divisions are known as the Deacons and Decantes and are somewhat arbitrary in order to allow for the 5 and sometimes 6 extra days in the year beyond the 360 days required for the 36 Deacons. Astrologers believe that each of the deacons has its own individual character. In modern times, however, the assignment of deacons has changed considerably. Each sign is allocated a triplicity consisting of 3 of the 4 classical elements, air, water, earth, or fire, and is therefore subdivided into 3 equal parts of 10 degrees each. Yeah, so it comes from decimal, which means December, from the 10th system, 10 degrees. These parts are referred to as deacons and deacanates. I have learned it of deacanates, yeah. But interesting that it sounds a lot like a deacon. Each deacon of a sign is assigned rulership by the planet ruling the sign and secondary rulership of the planet ruling the deacon. Aha, aha. That is the actual difference. The article is about the office in Christ churches. So this deacon is a member of an office in Christian churches. Okay, so much so. Also in Lutheran churches. So they have very much in common. The word deacon is derived from the Greek diakonos, which standard ancient Greek word of a minister in service, a waiting man, a minister, or a messenger. There's also one woman called Phoebe. It's mentioned in Romans 16:1-2 as a deacon of the church in Kencreate. Yeah, but if I go to the, this is the explanation of Wikipedia. If I go into the King James version, it's been said that comment unto you, Phoebe, our sister, which is a servant of the church, which is in Kencreate. So this is in Romans 61. Let's look it up. Diakonos.
So servant, this is,
yes. Yeah, servant. Yeah, this, you see, this is a Christian teacher and pastor. Yeah, it's been called 12G, so Greek 1249. They have not translated it as a deacon. Interesting, huh? But because we just learned that the usual explanation of Greek 1249 is servants, yeah, not a deacon. And in the King James Bible, I found that only 5 sessions of deacon where they have translated that word into deacon. The others who were used as servants. Yeah, so 30 times they have used servants. 6 times they have used deacons. So much for deaconess or female deacons, huh? I found it interesting. I don't know if it is a minor thing. You see that, just found that. Okay, so these are the deacons. These are the helpers. Yeah, so that some kind of a lower rank priest. Yeah, servant, minister, messenger. So it has not described in the King James Bible as a deacon, but as a servant. So please always use the King James version. Yeah, because this here is debatable, at least. Okay. So this goes on and on and on. What the Catholic deacon is. They are just helping the priest. They are some kind of a lower rank priest. They are just helping the priest. These are the deacons. Yeah, but we have deacon without the A in astrology. Yeah. My. So this is a deacon, disambiguation. Oh, there are also certain explanations about that. This is a diagonal star table from the 11th dynasty, Coffinid, found in Egypt. Oh, Egypt? Oh, it's a later thing than Babylon. But the deacons are 36 group of stars, small constellations used also in the Egyptian astronomy. Oh, you have to have long ears and now ancient Egyptian astronomy. Yeah. They rose consecutively on the horizon throughout each Earth rotation.
Yeah.
We will go into that very extensively soon. The rising of each deacon marked the beginning of a new decanal hour, Greek hora. Yeah, here comes the horoscope, which means the view of the hour. Of the night for the ancient Egyptians, and they were used as the sidereal star clock beginning by at least 9th or 10th dynasty. You see, this is not far away from Babylonian. Deacons continued to be used throughout the Renaissance in astrology and in Look at that, magic. But modern astrologers almost entirely ignore them. Yeah. So the Deacons are the 33-6 group of stars in the ancient Egyptian astronomy, as well as we have learned that it was also divided in Babylonia. Pardon me, so I could have copied that before. Yeah, there it is. Babylonian constellations dividing 36 into 3 circles represented by the gods Anu, Enlil, and Ea. Okay. So I don't want to bother you with all the names of the deacons, because there are somebody mentions in the Testament of Solomon. In Greek Hermetism, which is nothing more or less than that Hermes Trismegistos, so the threefold Hermes was the creator of everything, and it has been said in witchcraft, actually in Hermetism, you see the Hermetic order of the Golden Dawn in the 19th to 20th century. Everybody in the Hermetism thinks that it's one of the major influence in witchcraft, thinks that Hermes was the one who taught Moses into sorcery. I'm not making that up. That's really the thing, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so they really think that Hermes created everything, and he was the one with the emerald tables, etc. So that he was ordering Moses and not the Almighty God. So, but he educated Moses. Yeah. So you cannot think of all the things. If you are really into the occult and into sorcery and the stuff, it gets so weird, because you got several things which aren't true, and it doesn't hold anything up when you read the Bible. But you see, that's the point. You have to be. They want to confuse you into believing that Hermes existed and that he taught even Moses, which is seen. Moses is seen in sorcery witchcraft as one of a great sorcerer. Yeah. You see, you got all these certain 36 names of these so-called deacons. So the zodiac is an area of the sky of the ecliptic. So that means it's around the Earth. Yeah. So if you would like to think that's a circle around the Earth, so that's the zodiac. And this zodiac has been divided in 12 parts of 30 degrees each, so to create a complete circle, and it's been named after fixed stars constellation like Aries, Taurus, Gemini, etc., etc., etc. So that is what appears in the horoscope on the outer ring here. Okay, in the inner ring you see the divisions by 12 for the different houses where the planets rule. So if Moon is in the 6th house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 area, calculated from that. Yeah, so the Moon rules over house 6. But the 6th house has more or less usually 30 degrees. And so it has 3 different deacon rulers, 10, 10, 10. Yeah, so at least the zodiac got 360 divided by 12 means 30 degrees. So this is the first division by 10. It's the first ruler. You see, you have to remember ruler, somebody who rules like a king. Huh? So these are subdivisions of the zodiac. And these are subdivisions who then are being seen as 36 rulers. Okay? 12 by 3, huh? Okay, these are 360 degrees. So this is more convenient. Yeah, 360 degrees. And you have here separation by 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Yeah, 5, 10, etc., etc. So you have 12 signs around that, on that zodiac, on that imaginated circle around the Earth. And now you got these deacon rulers. Yeah, once again, ruler. So that means 3 by 12 means 36, correct? Okay. Now, in astrology, everybody is connected to a god. Yeah. So if these deacons serve the god, these are servants of gods. So these are the rulers. Imagine when there is a god and there are rulers on the earth, for example. So the ruler is a subdivision of a god, more or less. Okay, so in tarot card also you got also these divisions, yeah, and in many other things also, the deacons in astrology. And this Benjamin Dykes, PhD, in 2004 says the deacons in astrology started out as a calendar devices. There were ways of keeping track on how much of the heavens had turned day to day. Before the Greek invention of horoscopic astrology in the first few centuries before Christ, the Babylonian and Egyptian traditions of stargazing and omens did not focus so exclusively on the zodiac. And now, Brad, who are the two most prominent countries where the Israelites, the faithful followers of God, were in captivity?
The two, you said? Yeah?
The two, yes.
Yeah, there you go. Babylonian
There you go.
and Egyptian, yes.
What a coincidence, huh?
Sure.
What a coincidence.
No coincidence, Michael. It's just a fact, yeah?
Originally, the Egyptians associated 36 constellations with the calendar. They were also used for calendrical purposes. Each day, for 10 days, the Egyptians would note what stars were rising with the sun. After 10 days, they consider it the start of the new deacon.
Oh, isn't that interesting? So they had 10 days for a week then, didn't they?
No, actually,
that's what I heard somewhere.
Yeah, it can be. I'm not into that, but it has to sum up to 360. Yeah, so that's the first.
Sure,
that's the first thing. Yeah?
Yeah.
But it's clear that it might be as is a pagan religion.
But I remember there's somewhere saying that in ancient Egypt they had a 10-day week, not a 7-day week. So it kind of threw everything off, you know, as far as the
we can ask Uncle
Roman.
Yeah. Each month was divided into 3 10-day periods known as deacons or decades. So you can make it up.
Which one do you want to
really believe? Internet rumor has it.
Oh boy.
We have no time to go into that because otherwise we will never make it. But,
tell me about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you see,
and this is the thing, Michael. You know, if we
3
don't
weeks. You see here, 3 weeks was
top.
1 month. It seems to be correct. Yeah, 3 weeks was 1 month. So then it keeps up. Yeah. Okay. So when Greek scientists and astrologers began to synthesize prior traditions and added systematically innovations of their own, dividing the sky according to the zodiac became more common, and the decanal system was shifted onto it. The deacons were represented the power of star deities. We are talking about gods with deities, and pictures of the deities associated with them can be found. The Roman astrologer Firmicus Maternus, so 3rd to 4th century AD, says the deacons have infinite power and freedom in indicating the fates of man. So you see that were one really interesting item to go into that early, and they are not so powerful than real gods. You see, you have the same hierarchy than priests and deacons a little bit. So that was my intention from the beginning, where I was mentioning deacon with the A as a minister of the church. It is unknown where this division came from, but clearly derived from an earlier Babylonian star worship and attribution of deities to the deacons. Yeah, you see, there are sub-deities, what you'd like to say, like demigods, yeah, something like that, okay? Did they believe that celestial spirits, possibly accessible through magical means, were influential through certain parts of the sky? Yeah, then weather prediction, mundane astrology. There were 2 versions of rulership given to the deacons in the ancient world. I will call this Chaldean rulership and rulership by triplicity. Yeah, you see that it will turn out to be 3 times 12 means 36. And some of you might now know why I'm keeping the number 36, why I'm mentioning it so often, and we'll go back down to that road. We don't have to go into extensively that. Yeah. Zodiac deacons, without A, sure. Yeah. Each sign covers 30 sessions, 30 degrees. So that means 3 by 12. A little bit more for the people who think that I'm a black and white screen. No, we have color too. When I go in German in deacon, yeah, it says the deacon represents a special scholarship in a high school, and deacon or decent from Latin decanus comes from decem 10. Yeah, you see decem like December, okay, which was the 10th month. Yeah, and in the Roman Catholic Church, it's the head of a group of priests. Aha. You see, if you then compare the English with the German Wikipedia, you get some things which are really a little bit of mixed off. Yeah, but I'm just saying that in German it's been said that a deacon without an A, yeah, comes from 10, which would also be the same as a deacon in astrology, right? I hope you get my point. I cannot help it that it's been written with an A in English, but in German we write it without an A, okay? You see that in the Bible, the number 666 is much often mentioned, especially in Revelation 13, yeah, the number of the beast, okay? And here it is, Revelation, just give me 15 minutes, Brett, and we will come to the very conclusion of it. Yeah, there it is. So, would you like to read, I think, verses 15 to 18, Brett?
Oh, we start verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Oh, the image of the beast, Michael. So the image of the state. So those who aren't voting. And causeth all, both small, excuse me, I'm sorry for my comments, guys. I just, this is gals too, this is a political thing. I hate politics. I'm going to start again. And I'm just not going to comment. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, so that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Which would be the equivalent of the title of the Pope, or the former title of the Pope, which means the representative of the Son of God, Vicarius Filii Dei, okay? Which means in Roman numerals you would come up with the 112 in addition to 53 and to add 501, which comes up to 666, okay?
Michael, you just reminded me of something. You said formerly the Pope, and we have the artist formerly known as Prince.
Tough cap, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? How this Jesuit Pope can claim not to have the title Vicarius Filii Dei, but yet we have a second former Pope that is alive and well today. They call him what? Pope Emeritus or whatever, meaning that he's the retired Pope. And you have the Jesuit Pope wearing a silver ring, and you have the the retired pope wearing a gold ring to this day, as if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
I haven't looked it up. You see that I'm just at this moment. I'm not.
Well, you just look at a picture of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI today, and you know, we'll see 2021 maybe. And let's see for images what comes up. There might not be many images of him today. He's in pretty rough shape, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's very
old.
90, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is the Antichrist we're speaking of here.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't nice guys. They appear to be nice. Oh, yes. Whited sepulchres in Matthew 23. That's what they are.
But you see that everybody is focusing on the vicarius filii Dei because it is the number of a man. It would also be the number of his office.
Sure.
And I don't say that it's incorrect, but if we go down the path that we discovered that actually Rome is a continuation of Babylon, yeah, Babylon the Great, okay. Then if the science is also a continuation out of Babylon, what would you say that we go down that path? Because then vicarius filii Dei has to be in some reference of the Babylonian system. Which means, and in old times in Babylon, Nimrod was the ruler, was the mighty hunter of souls, and was also the godman and the sun god, yeah? And you know that in astrology, the sun is the most prominent and most important thing, which means is that if you worship a horoscope or astrology, you worship the planet as rulers, as gods. Yeah, you worship the deacons as rulers and the planets as gods. Can we agree on that fact? If so, it was as well in Babylonia and it was in Egypt the case. And we know that what the zodiac is, it's nothing more than a circle, a circle around the earth. And the Pope calls himself the master bridge builder, yeah, between heaven and earth. Yeah, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Yeah, and yeah, how shall I point it out? You see that there is another explanation where the 666 could be derived from, and it doesn't come from me or from some fancy book. Yeah, it just comes from simply mathematic. For math, we know that math, astronomy, and astrology were the main branches in Babylonian science, right? If we know that astronomy and astrology are using religious names of pagan deities for their stars as well as for their planets, you see the moon, the Mars, or moon or Luna, Venus, Mars, Sun, Jupiter, Mercury, Saturn. Yeah, and we know that Nimrod was the sun god. And that the popes are using the sun symbol on their monstrance, as well as many other religion facilities are using them. Yeah, they are then doing that on a Sunday, since the, help me out, Brad, this Council on Laodicea, was it that?
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah. They were punishing those that would not observe a Sunday Sabbath, rather those who would observe the Jewish Sabbath that were not Jews were actually, I don't know if it was punishable by death or not, but it was very severe.
Very soon after that Roman Catholic system was founded in from Constantine, yeah, a few years after that, they changed the Sabbath to Sunday. Yeah, I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, Council of Laodicea. That sounds.
So right. Sunday means the worship of the sun. Yeah, it is not the second day. So the worship of the sun is the most greatest, biggest, hottest, and prominent system. Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto has been left out. Yeah. So if you like to see it this way or that way, it doesn't matter. In the old times, there were only 7 planets known. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Moon is just no planet. He's dependent on the Earth in one way or another, and Saturn was the last one. That was why he was depicted with death, and also the Lord of the Rings when you see the ring around the planet. Yeah, okay. So they have left out this because they were not discovered, and everything has to do with Roman gods here. Everything: Saturn, Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, everything. See that the high priest has the high knowledge, so he has also the knowledge of science. And as we now know that, I'm not going into that. I'm not going to finish the session now by simply mathematics. Why I am using Excel now? You see, we have discovered the following: 6, 6, 6. Okay, has nothing to do with has everything to do, for example, with okay, or future. Yeah, because F is the 6th letter of the alphabet, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I just draw a table here. We have seen that Rome is the continuation of Babylon. We know that in ancient Babylon, science was mathematics, astronomy, and astrology. And so astronomy and astrology has to use the mathematics. These are the 36 rulers of the zodiac. All 36 of them. And what does it, what outcome is if I add up all the rulers of the zodiac to get the entire circle around the Earth, to have a pagan religion system which adds up to be the sun worship, because the sun, the heliocentric system, is the pagan belief system. Actually, the heliocentric system is a system where the sun is the ruler of it all, as you see it in the monstrance. It's not of my own research. I have picked it up from a video from a guy which is in my esteem is a very clever guy, but he doesn't live anymore. Maybe he was killed. He was a Seventh-day Adventist. His name is James Arabito. And he came up with some lectures about Babylonian science. And he said that the summation of all these deacons seen as rulers around the earth, which then comes up to serve the Lord of the Zodiac, which would be a pagan religion, is the sum of all the 36 deacons is summing up to 666. You can make up your own mind if that is correct, but if Rome is the continuation of Babylon, then it is a very strange coincidence that also the Vicarius Filii Dei means 666. We know it's the number of a man, but his origin actually is from Babylon, and that means the worship of images and idols, and the worship of planets, the worship of the stars. And the ruler of the zodiac, or the ruler of the circle around the earth, which could be also seen as a ring around the earth, the lord of the ring, the lord of the zodiac, still is being handed over to Satan, because it's a pagan system. And so all the numbers of each ruler, 1 to 36, comes up with the result of also 666. It's just the adding in the number 1 to the number 36. It's nothing more. Nothing.
Really, Michael?
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
I've listened to so many things of all the channels I'm listening to, and never anybody mentioned that.
Wow, that's really fascinating.
And that's why I insisted so on these deacons. You see, that was the main reason why I said that. Oh my! If this all is a pagan system, then they are worshiping the sun system. They are not worshiping a creator, but the creation. Yeah,
Oh,
and they
sure.
are
It's
worshiping.
all about the pantheon, man.
Yeah. And they are worshipping Satan. And what does Satan do? Satan is depicted as the Lord of the Rings, as Saturn, and also he's depicted as as having the power on earth. There is a famous song from the fifth dimension, Age of Aquarius. Yeah. When the moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac, which means this is the age of the rulership of pagan belief systems. With the sunshine in. Yeah, the sun! It all comes together that all the pagan belief systems have first priority, and the Bible-believing Christians, they're just a minority, and they are the lunatics or something like that. Yeah. Sunshine, yeah, that's the life on this planet. No more life without the sun, but the Bible speaks of that the light was there on this earth before the sun had even been created. But yeah, well, who are we to doubt all this worldly science? Huh? Who are we? Who are we against this mighty institutions with lots of money promoting sun worship and promoting planets as gods and being the bridge builder and deacons and all these other pagan belief systems that really nothing else happens and nothing has changed. We are getting back to Babylon. Actually, we are getting back to Babylon. Yeah, all these tarot cards, all these astrology, all these deacons, yeah, all these things were being used in both Babylon and Egypt. Babylon and Egypt, the two cities or the two kingdoms actually where the true believers of Christ were being held in captivity. Yeah, so they really could see what they are worshiping there. Yeah. Cannot imagine how deep everything is connected, but I hope that the last two sessions gave a little bit of more insight how anything is interwoven into the church. I'm going back into the script that you really see how much we have covered in that session here. We have started with deacons, and in German the deacon is without an A, so deacon means deacon in German, so that is the same name. If I would look at a Roman Catholic priest or a priest, minor priest, or if I would look in the dividing by 10 in each house of the zodiac of the horoscope. Yeah, and you see here the god, the false god of Mars ruling on the first house in the horoscope of someone. Any questions? You can make up your own mind. You can go into extensive research about that. We cannot do that because otherwise we would have hundreds of things. You see that to make the connections between religion, science, politics, and ancient histories, you need to study many years, and then you come up to the conclusion and say that, wow, really? Is that really the case? And that's why I was doing the script, to really let you see how many things are interwoven, how many things are related, and that everything comes out of the system of Babylon, comes out of the system of Nimrod, comes out of the system who are being thrown out of the paradise of the Garden of Eden, and out of the system of Cain, and out of the system of the son of Noah, of Ham, and something like that. You see that this is the system of the people who are ruling this earth. Yeah, this earth, they are ruling this earth because they have the power, they are in the majority, and they have all the money they will get, and therefore they will educate our children, they would educate ourselves. They are using media, they are using massive delusion, and most of the people think that because the majority of people are using that so-called science so-called, this is correct. And you see that everything goes back to Babylon. Yeah, everything goes back to Babylon. All roads lead to Rome, but Rome leads back to Babylon. So that's my conclusion for this. And in the next session, we will go into more extensive research. This was session 16, Babylon III, the rulers of the zodiac and the ruler of this world, which is the so-called God of this world, which is Satan. Many thanks for your concentration, and thank you very much also for the cooperation with my beloved brother Brett. Handing it over, wishing you that God may bless you, and Maranatha.
Yes, Michael, it's rather interesting how, you know, these successors to the throne of so-called Peter are conducting their business. And yeah, sure enough, I sent you a BBC News article here, Benedict XVI, 10 things about the Pope's retirement. And in this article, item number 4 says his ring. According to tradition, the papal apartments are sealed with the Pope's gold ring, known as the fisherman's ring. He is smashed with, what was it, a silver hammer, when the Pope leaves office. Quote, objects strictly tied to the ministry of St. Peter must be destroyed, unquote. The Vatican says, yes, this time around, though, the insignia on Benedict XVI's ring was merely scratched with a cross so that it can be kept for posterity, perhaps in a museum. Okay, so maybe he doesn't wear the ring anymore, according to this article, but who knows? It just seems awfully fishy to me, Michael. But that's the subject for another time. And I hope everyone is doing well, and we'll catch up with you next time on the next session of Science, the New Religion. Catch up with you then. God bless and Maranatha.